The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 6th day of September 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Centra Durham, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Centra, how are you doing today?
I'm okay.
Folks, the reason you got that pause of a stutter is, when you're dealing with technology and things like this, things happen. So essentially, she was in panic mode before we came live, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to call it?
Yes, I'm trying to come down a minute. I'm trying to boosa. It's okay. We're here.
Yeah, we good. We good. But you had a good weekend? You
know what? I did. So my weekend. I spent the weekend doing like end of summer cleaning, getting ready for school.
Mm-hmm.
My son is going to school tomorrow.
School starts tomorrow.
He went camping. He's never been away from me for like that long. He went camping from Thursday to yesterday.
So you had a weekend off. He had a weekend off. How was separation?
Hard for me, easy for him.
Yeah, that's usually the case.
Yeah, it was really difficult for me, but I'm happy that he had fun. So H&H Gun Base takes all of the gun bays down to, they went to Ferry Reach, and they camped, and moms are not allowed.
So. I wonder why moms are not allowed. I do wonder. Well, look, mama gotta let go, little boy, sometimes.
I know.
Maybe not today or yesterday or tomorrow, but gotta let go. But
one day, and Zane did a good job. He was with his dad as well, so he was well taken care of, and he had a blast. I was not a miss. So
sound like Maddox had a good weekend. It was it was our 6th wedding anniversary this past weekend, and
congratulations.
To me or her?
To her.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So yeah,
you
went to like breakfast. I found some like nice breakfast joint. Then
you were being romantic, Jamal.
I didn't say nothing about romance. I said we went.
You were.
Little couples massage thing, and went to a little family cookout, and yeah, it was a almost relaxing weekend. Yeah, it was an almost relaxing weekend. Yeah. So
I like it, Jamal.
Nothing too crazy.
I didn't know you had that side in you. So.
I don't. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Dr. Lou Matthews on the show. Dr. Lou Matthews, inspiring our young people through math. If you know me, you know math was never my favorite subject. Were you a math person, Sandra?
I loved math. I did. I loved math.
Okay.
Well, it's something that it came easy to me, so I enjoyed it.
One of us has to be good at it on the show. Daily Players, remember when, folks. So, this should be interesting. The answer for this question was on social media this weekend. I'll just put it like that. I'm not saying it was on our social media, but it was on social media this weekend. But, Sandra, we have to have a conversation. We have to have a conversation because you all's Minister of Labor, or whatever his name, well, I don't know his title. I'm not Jason Hayward. He's the minister of something. He went ahead, and I'm going to go based off his tweet because I responded to it yesterday. So, okay. Minister Jason Hayward, sorry, that was Manchester United. They beat Arsenal this weekend. That's not what we're on about. So, the minister Jason Hayward yesterday, he tweeted, as the minister, oh, here he goes. The Minister for Economy and Labor, I cannot tell you how pleased I am to announce that after decades of consecutive governments being accused of kicking the can down the road, which is in quotes, this government will implement a statutory minimum wage rate in Bermuda. So, being who I am, I basically responded in quote, and I said, unless this is tied to price control, which let me be clear because some people don't get that, I am not advocating for price control. I don't believe price control works in a free market. Well, technically, it wouldn't be a free market if you had price control. But I said, unless this is tied to price control, how exactly will this improve the lives of people making the least? Minimum wage sounds good in theory, but if you tell a business they now have to pay 16 instead of 10, how do you think they'll respond? That's my question. That's my question. Now, a lot of people took it and went where they wanted to go. But the simple thing is, and Tamara Richardson replied, businesses can only raise prices so high because of the Amazon effect. But they will, one, not hire, two, go out of business, or three, we're paying above this anyways, so we'll have little to no impact effect and just sounds like good politicking. Question of the morning, and for those of you who don't know, let me just read a bit from our friends over at Burn News. Minimum wage between $16 and $16.40 to be offered. This, according to Burn News, the minimum wage rate set to come into force in June 2023 will be between $16 and $16.40, the government announced today. In his Labor Day message, Minister Hayward said the implementation of minimum wage reflects the social justice ethos of the Progressive Labour Party government, ensuring that a fair day's wage is paid for a fair day's work. And so, designed to this statutory wage floor, it's proposed Bermuda's minimum wage will be set between $6 and $16.40. Hospitality workers who receive tips and gratuities, and personal care workers who primarily receive remuneration through commission will have a minimum wage set at 75% of the ordinary minimum wage, equating to a fixed rate of $12.30. Now, here's the question of the morning. Question of the morning to all of you brilliant people. What are your thoughts on the government of Bermuda's proposed new minimum wage? What are your thoughts on the government of Bermuda's proposed new minimum wage? What you got for us?
Jamel.
Oh boy.
So many small businesses are just going to go out of business. So many. Even when I'm looking at where you have commission and gratuities are being paid, the minimum is $12.30. At Nail Bar, my girls work on commission, and their commission is a very good commission. Mm-hmm. And I feel, in my opinion, that they are taking home a very good wage. Mm. And now you're going to come in and tell me that it has to be set at it's a lot of small businesses are going to go out of business. It is. And, I don't want to attack anybody, but I say this on a regular basis. I don't think how many members of the PLP have ran their own business. How many of them have been the CEOs of businesses and companies? And so these decisions are kind of being made blindly, and I think a lot of times are being made from a background of where they've come from. And who are we trying to please again? Who are we trying to please? We're not pleasing the people that are keeping the economy going. That's not what we're trying to do again. I always talk about the middleman and how they're going to be, not the middleman, the middle class, and how they're going to be canceled out. But who is this to please? And to be fair, I feel like the people that are here on work permits, they're going to benefit the most, right? So,
yeah, I think it's I don't think that this is going to do what it intended to do. And let me use an example I gave someone yesterday. One of the examples was employees want to unionize because they want to feel more safe in their jobs, right? Well, the company says, all right, we've treated you great. We've given you this amount of these benefits, this pay, and you want to unionize now. So companies, I know of some who have said, okay, if this is what you want to do, well, we're going to make our decision. That decision is we're going to either close because we don't need to do this. We've made our money. We can go the route of technology and say, you know what, we're going to replace these positions with tech. I think what you're doing, you think it has, I actually believe they think it has good intentions. I think they believe, they actually believe this. And I think they believe it, Sancho, because of a point that you made this morning, which I knew you were going to make, and you make over and over and over. You make over and over and over. If you don't have the business sense and knowledge, these are the things you're going to do. Because I highly doubt there's a business owner in Bermuda, be it a black business owner, white business owner, a small business owner, a large business owner. I highly doubt any of them. And if anyone in the audience today is a business owner, I highly doubt any of them feel this is a well thought out thing that's going to benefit Bermuda and Bermudians long term. Now, let me be clear. If you've watched this show, if you heard me back in the day at other companies I have always been against the idea of a minimum wage. I've always been, and I've always explained why I've been against it. One of the biggest reasons is, Sencha, if let's say our local grocers, right? Let's say they pay their people $20 an hour, right? Now, I don't know if this is legal or not, folks. So I'm speaking based on just, lack of knowledge, but just thought. If they paid our people $20 and then the government sets a bar at $16, right? What's stopping that company from saying, oh, all I have to pay is $16? I'm overpaying my people. And now they may not change it for the people who are already there, but new people coming in are only going to be getting 16. I don't know. What are your thoughts, folks, on the Governor of Bermuda's proposed new minimum wage? We've got some comments, Sancho. You got Sean Smith and Traveling Trotty.
A lot of reclassification of jobs to independent contract workers to get around that issue.
Bingo.
Yes.
Bingo.
How many people are in this position to earn more money?
Well, that's something that I discussed with someone yesterday because at times it could be people working that second or third job. But the truth is, I thought the overall goal was to put people in a position where they didn't have to work a second and third job.
Yeah. Even I'm looking at it where it says this would be considered one of the highest, in the world, right? So from where I stand, I feel like me running a business is so costly, probably one of the highest in the world. I have to pay shipping and duty, and everything that I use is imported. And so is all of that being taken into consideration? Come on. So now you're telling me on top of all of the, in order to keep my business afloat, and don't talk about the Balco bill that comes every month, social insurance, payroll tax, all of these things, health insurance, all of these things, if you're running a business correctly. Now, there's a lot of people out there that aren't. But for me, if I'm paying everything that I'm supposed to be paying, and now on top of that, you're going to come behind me, but I feel like I have morally sound, our contracts. I morally, I can say that my girls are making very good money. You're going to come and shake that up. And now I need to figure out where that money is coming from as well.
I think it's a power play here, though. It's a power play because someone hit me up yesterday. They were like, this is to address exploitation of workers, right? It's what someone said to me. And I said, I get it. I really do. And I haven't read any study. Let me be clear. I'm not an expert at this. But I'm just thinking, is one of the goals, and maybe I'm sharing too much, of this company that my partners and I run, is to treat people better than they'll be treated elsewhere, to give them more than they'll get elsewhere. It's not about trying to exploit, because if you're exploiting, you're not actually giving the best of the best to really provide what you believe you want to provide. And also when you're exploiting, you're not getting rewarded like you could. A lot of people think, oh, well, if we keep wages low and just keep people on contract, we'll make all that. Trust me, treat people better. You probably have a better opportunity. Let's go back to the comments. Folks, what are your thoughts on the government of Bermuda's proposed new minimum wage? Tamara Richardson says, imagine stating we need 8,000 more jobs, then proceeding to pass legislation which will erase jobs. Things that feel good don't always equate to being good for us. Interesting.
That,
yeah. Just a couple of years ago, yeah. Sean DeShield says, one consequences of implementing minimum wage is the potential of price increases across the board.
exactly.
Sean, I'm sure this was well thought out. I'm sure, again, I'm just speaking off of my own ignorance. Don't mind me. Mia Hartman says 16 an hour is not doable. From June 2020 to September 2021 was the hardest time ever trying to pay bills and survive. Off of that, I had to apply my pension because I couldn't make it. But see, we're not even getting into the conversation about the number. I don't even think, because at the end of the day, even if it was $20 or $24, I don't think that's the point. At the end of the day, in a free market, if that's what Bermuda thinks it is, you don't want to really dictate by law. Now, I understand in places like the United States, right? I mean, illegal immigration is high. They've got people picking oranges and paying them like, they're exploiting them. Let's just be clear. Folks, this is a sticky road for me. It's sticky, Sancha. And again, I consider myself a partner in a small business. I do.
Yeah.
One thing, and Sancha, you could put me on the spot. One thing I will say is I will go broke before my people say they're being treated poorly or being treated worse off. I don't believe exploitation is the way to go. I believe you treat people, and this is a message to the businesses. If you can't take care of your people and stay in business, if you're saying that having to pay your people at face value will hurt your business, then you probably shouldn't be in business. But the government should not have to mandate. The government shouldn't have to mandate what you pay people. I don't like government getting involved. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. Charles H. Jeffers and Erna Enos for you, Sancha.
It appears that this decision was made with a vacuum. If you don't consult both sides of the table, you leave little to no options for business owners and leaders.
Well, that's, I do wonder how many business people were on maybe the committee or so on. And maybe these are questions that we can get answered. Because again, we're speaking based on what's been given to us in the news, right? So maybe let's find out who was on the committee. Let's see how it was put forth. But I think, and obviously it was strategic for this Minister Jason Hayward to release it on Labor Day, thinking, oh, let's get some plaudits like we're doing something big. I'm not quite sure you understand or read the room well, Mr. Hayward. I'm not quite sure you know how to read a room, my brother. Our guest today, Dr. Lou Matthews, says minimum wages impact places where there is exploitation of wages paid to workers, which itself is a bigger issue of how labor demand and supply works across the island. So done in isolation, it may not be as impactful. Employers in California with 25 or less employees have a minimum wage of $14 per hour. Federal minimum wage in the U.S. is $7 per hour. Minimum wage without addressing the exploitation itself. And that's the problem. And that's why I said you can't have minimum wage without price controls. Now, again, I'm not advocating price controls. I'm just saying, folks, how does one work without the other? Like it seems short-sighted, but again, maybe there's more to it that's not in front of us. Erna Enos says, I feel that if it should be 18 and up for Bermudians only, and be a starting pay. Any business that can afford to pay their staff should not hire them. No, folks, stop talking numbers. I want to change your mindset. Don't think 16, 18, 20, 24. Eliminate that for a second. I want you to, if anything, I don't want to change your mind, but I want to help you think deeper than the pay. Think about what Dr. Lou Matthews just said. Exploitation. I don't think any number based on, I don't think any of us have the actual data right now to have the conversation about what number is going to be suitable. What I'm simply saying is we tread very dangerously when government makes moves like this, thinking everyone's just going to be happy. Because if they said $24, if they say 18, let me give this example. I'm being very narrow with this example. If they take and they say 16 now, but you're saying, oh, it should be 20 or 24. That still doesn't change the problem, because the question to you is the same one to Jason Hayward. If you tell a business that they have to pay you that, what do you think they're going to do? You're still not going to win. Yeah. That's why you have to stop thinking numbers. It's not about the 16 being doable or not. It's not about the 20, 18, whatever being doable. Get that out of your head. Seriously. I'm not saying this to be mean, but we have to think deeper. And unless we collectively think deeper, ain't nothing going to change. Think like an entrepreneur, even though you may not be one. Think like one. Because I'll tell you what. You see how companies in the United States have responded to having to pay $16 an hour? Guess what they're doing? Robots are making your burgers. Technology has replaced the cashier. Stop thinking numbers.
I think it's easy enough for people to just throw out a number based on what their day-to-day life is, and this is what will make things better for them. Mm-hmm. But we're not looking, and I say it all the time, even it's times where we talk in the chat, and you guys will be like, oh, I didn't think about that. Mm-hmm. When you start running a business and you realize everything that comes along with it, mm-hmm. Obviously, if you're not able to sustain it, yes, you shouldn't be in business, but then help us sustain this so that we can keep people working.
Traveling Charlie shares the committee members. Phil Barnett, he oversees that Island Restaurant Group, I believe. Martha Dismount, Hassan Durham, Chris Ferbert, Cordell Riley, Craig Simmons, and Robert Stubbs. So these are the folks that were on the committee. Couple of entrepreneurs in there. Rosalind Famous says, not disagreeing as to whether the amount is good or not, but it is unfortunately too idealistic to think that all corporations will operate ethically and morally. Is this the best solution? I don't know, but we can't fully rely on corporate integrity. Oh, I don't believe we can. Yeah. But what I'm saying is a number's not going to fix the problem. It has to be deeper. And I don't think the government understands this either. Maybe they do, but I don't think it's addressing it. One more comment, because we're going to get in trouble with Maya. Employers will hire less staff than the worker will have to do way more work. Absolutely. And then Dr. Lou Matthews says, I recall the poverty line being communicated a couple of decades ago at $50,000 per household. How does an $18 an hour wage compare to that? What does it say about poverty? Folks, these are good questions. Let's bring Maya in. Folks, just think. All I want this audience to do, have these conversations. But what I don't want us to do is think that this government has done Bermuda and Bermudians a favor with this. And I know that they'll, if it don't work out, push the blame to that committee. It's not the committee at all. The committees make recommendations as far as I know. They make recommendations. They're the ones who've done the research. But the government, it's up to you. Let's bring in Maya, see what she thinks. Good morning, Maya. How are you?
Good morning. I am just tuned into your last conversation right now, reading the comments as I was getting in.
So do you did a study on this some time ago, right? Or not a study, but
I did sort of like a survey, yes, on my Media My page. Basically, I talked about it when it came out in May of 2021, when they first announced the 3 different levels of what they're trying to suggest as being the minimum wage for Bermuda.
Okay. Well, you know what? You have anything about it in your news?
I do. It's going to be my first news break, actually. So you might hear a little bit of same topics as you guys just touched on. But yes, let's get to the news break.
Let's get over to the news break. All right. Over to you, Maya.
Morning, and thank you everyone for tapping in this morning. I'm Maya Palacio, and this is the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy, and this is it for today. In May of 2021, the current government was deciding on a minimum wage. The options at the time were $13.20, $15.75, and $17.30. Well, yesterday, September 5th, 2022, the Minister of Economy and Labor, Jason Hayward, announced that Bermuda's minimum wage will be set between $16 and $16.40 in June of 2023. This implementation of the minimum wage will be considered one of the highest in the world. Now, Minister Hayward says hospitality workers who receive tips and gratuities and personal care workers who primarily receive remuneration through commission will have a minimum wage set at 75% of the ordinary minimum wage, equating to a fixed rate of between $12 and $12.30. Now, a comment came to my discussion page in 2021 is still relevant today for our discussion. A community member questioned how small businesses will survive if they have to increase their minimum wage. Now, in 2021, I conducted a survey, and 81% of people agreed that Bermuda did need a minimum wage. And there were still questions like what will happen if a large amount of employers are unable to pay the minimum wage, or will the minimum wage be a law, and can businesses still have the option of setting a wage below the government? Or how will it be enforced, and what type of employee is entitled to it? Meaning, is it just a full-time employee or part-time employee who is entitled to it as well, or both? Now, I have emailed all those questions and more to the ministry in response to the minimum wage announcement, and hopefully I get an answer back to relay to everyone here or on my Media Maya page. Continuing with the Labor Day announcements, yesterday the march was held outside the Union building with many speeches from leaders and union members as they celebrated 40 years of the Labor Day celebration. Many expressed their concerns and the need for continued solidarity. There were signs of continued commitment and other signs calling for current leadership to step down. A speech by the chairman of the Bermuda Corrections, Timothy Sion, expressed the working facilities within Westgate.
It's a struggle behind those walls. I know most people, when they go into dockyard, the last thing you think of doing is looking to your left and wondering how those guys are behind the walls. But let me tell you how prison officers are working, and some people are living behind those walls. Prison officers are working in units without proper ventilation. It gets pretty hot in unit. If it's 87, 90 degrees outside, add another 10, 15 degrees inside of the jail.
Come on now.
I do recall some people being locked up for treating the animals worse than that. Court-ordered programs not being available to inmates upon their parole hearing. If an inmate does not do what's necessary in order to be considered for parole, that's on the inmate. But at any time, at no time whatsoever, should inmates be turned away because of the inconsistency of court-ordered programs.
Now that video is coming to you from Burn News. Thank you very much for that. In other news, can you go without a day or month or week without buying clothes? Well, the local charity Bermuda is Love is seeking to get the public to understand the dangers of fast fashion. The group has written that the fast fashion industry is the second most polluting industry on the earth, behind oils, and produces 10% of the world's global greenhouse gas emissions. In Bermuda, any clothes thrown away are sent to Tynes Bay and incinerated and burned for energy, contributing to carbon dioxide pollution. Now, the charity Bermuda is Love is starting a hashtag No Clothes Challenge, which challenges community members not to purchase any new clothes for the month of September. Their hope is that the island can reflect on their consumption habits. And now your latest in sports, Bermuda is closer to the 2023 CONCACAF Men's Under-17 Championship after defeating Bahamas 4-0 on Monday morning at the IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. The team has currently gone undefeated, so they're doing an amazing job out there. And this in from Island Stats, Thomas Mills and Bella Wright were crowned the 2022 Labor Day 5K race winners, female and male champions. Mills clocked a winning time of 16:38 and Wright crossed the line in a time of 18:53, finishing 7th overall. And now look at today's weather. We got a mix of sun and clouds and a chance of an early shower or two, and a high near 87 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, it's going to be really hot out there. And that's all for me. I'm Maya Palacio for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Now let's get back to Jamel and Sandra for the Daily Focus.
It take me 33 minutes to run a 5K, and you talking about it took those people 16. Man, let me stay running when nobody's watching. Anyway, Sancho, what you got there today? You got to take yourself off mute, sister.
Sorry. I'm going to say something quickly about your fast fashion in your news break. I know everyone has seen that the garage has been very quiet recently, and that's one of the reasons. I felt that we were in a position whereas we were, we had brands and stuff like that, but people were demanding fast fashion, and I had to make a decision like, I can't do fast fashion. So wanted to say that.
I don't understand it, but go ahead. You're going to have to explain to me later.
You know what?
Yeah,
we can do a whole talk on it. Next time I'm on, we'll have a conversation about fast fashion.
Okay.
It's one to be had. So today is International Day of Charity. This date, September 5th, was chosen in order to commemorate the anniversary of the passing away of Mother Teresa. She received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979 for the work that undertaken in the struggle of overcome poverty and distress, which also constitutes the threat to peace. So yes, today is International Day of Charity.
You said September 5th?
It's not September 5th? Oh my God.
No, we had a day off, Angela. We had a day off. I'm just saying. No, it's good, but
yesterday was.
Good cleanup.
It's on Monday. It's on Monday, folks. It's on Monday.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, we missed the days.
I thought I was doing a thing too.
It touched on the points too. It was right on the nail.
Hit it, right? You got it. I could have held that one for later, but
No, but you know what? I know it's another one. It's International Coffee Ice Cream Day. No, National Coffee Ice Cream Day today. So go have a coffee ice cream today. I know that for a fact.
You have coffee ice cream at Scoops?
Yes. Oh. Come have a coffee ice cream today.
Coffee ice cream. All righty. Maya, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
All right, Maya Palacio, folks. Do not go anywhere. Taking a quick break. We've got the mathematician himself, Dr. Lou Matthews, coming right up. Don't go anywhere. Stick with us. I like Dr. Lou. This should be interesting.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All righty, welcome back to the big show, Central Durham. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed on our website, thedailyhour.com. Also, if you're on the go and can't watch, that's okay. Download the BCG Radio app. You can listen to us every time we go live. Without further ado, let's bring our guest for the day. We've got Dr. Lou Matthews, an educator, a mathematician, the man himself. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning, Sancha and Jamel. Nice to see you guys.
Good morning.
Nice to see you, man, honestly. And I appreciate sometimes, we have guests coming on the show, we want them to tune in and contribute. Like some people,
I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it.
but it fits in with one of my first questions to you today is, well, first off, I always say this, and I don't want Bermudians to get offended, people who are still in Bermuda. Well, actually, you do what you do, but I always say people like yourself, there are so many talented Bermudians no longer in Bermuda, right? And I include you in that space. We recently had Elroy Smith on, another person, changer culturally in the U.S., another talented Bermudian. We have a lot of talent for such a small place. You know, I said to my wife this weekend anniversary, I said, we were watching a football game. I said, 75,000 people in this stadium, Manchester United and Arsenal. I said, my entire country could fit in this stadium.
That's a sore spot.
Do you know how lucky you got to meet one? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But no, jokes aside, you know, I admire what you're doing. And just for those who may not know, what have you been up to since you left Bermuda? But also, I want to tie this right into this. You mentioned culturally relevant math as I was reading. And I'm just like, I don't think of math and culture. I just think numbers that scared me all my life. Speak to us.
Well, it's interesting. Let me jump right in. Thank you for inviting me. You know, you just engaged in an experience around culturally relevant mathematics. You talked about, as a topic of the show, what is this proposed minimum wage of $18 per hour? What does it mean to us, to me, to the country? And that's what culturally relevant mathematics is really about, right? It's this authentic exploration of mathematics to ask better questions about myself, better questions about my community, and better questions about the world around me. I can go more technical around critical consciousness and social justice and cultural competence, but that was a perfect example. There was a number put out to the public, and we are struggling to make sense of it, right? Both for good and for bad. That number is not just neutral. It's not just 1 + 1 is 2. That number 18 means something. And small business owners are debating it. Mom and pop are debating it. Kids could even debate it. In fact, that problem of what it means, what it says and what it means could easily be placed in the primary school, middle school curriculum. And it's really at that level, that in terms of wages per hour, what does that mean? Well, that's $720 per week. I mean, what does that mean? What's the salary per year? How does that compare to the poverty line? And what does it mean for us? And so I think using mathematics to engage in more politically powerful, more empowering culturally and politically powerful conversations is really what we want mathematics to be. Imagine a conversation of no more we having conversations like Sally buys 29 cantaloupes and someone doesn't stop and say, well, what the hell is Sally buying 29 cantaloupes for? Right? And so, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say what the hell.
No, you're fine. Go ahead. We have our conversation.
Don't want to forget these American ways are seeping inside. But you know, it's asking more meaningful questions, and I think it's a question that's opened up to the whole country to really explore. And so that's culturally relevant mathematics. And I've been engaged in that exploration, in that advocacy all my career, really. But in the last 5 years, it's exploded because of the COVID pandemics and the racial justice, the endemic that we've been experiencing in the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
I appreciate that example. And while both Sench and I laughed, that was a math coming up for us.
It sure was.
And I think so for instance, for me, I never enjoyed school until I started studying radio and TV, right? But when you put it like that at a young age, you start doing it based on, like, I like sports. If you use sports examples for me as a young person, right? Like, and said, Manchester United purchased such and such for this amount, but they sold this person for that much. Versus Arsenal bought this person, but sold this. You show net spend versus net spend. Arsenal actually got a better deal. But I think there's a culturally relevant and give people perspective. And they're like, you're making sure that they're learning through what they enjoy. Saying that, just go a bit deeper. Why is it so important to ensure that we're teaching math in this culturally relevant way?
Well, you know, it's what you said earlier, and even in the backstage conversation I was listening to, then one of you said, you know, I was never a math person, right? And it's these messages that we're taught. And I want to contrast it with some other messages that were taught in the country, not just in the country, but wherever I go, I see the same message being taught. This idea that you need to be that, you know, because I know math, I'm extremely, when I tell people what I do, oh, wow, you must be really, 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 really smart. And then the second thing they do is what you did, right? It's like, they say, I wasn't a math person, or I didn't like math when I was growing up. It turns into therapy space. I could be in a taxi cab, I could be in a hotel, anywhere I'm at. It's this idea of, it brings on these intense emotional spaces. When I think about this idea of Bermuda being 60,000, and we're just a country that we punch above our weight all the time. We actually believe, we have an under 17 team playing right now. We actually think that anytime we send a young team over, they're capable of making the World Cup. You know, we believe that statistically, a small group of Bermudians can shake up the entire world at any given time. And when it comes to football and soccer, and cricket and other sports, but when it comes to ideas about our intellectual prowess, our mathematics, our science, and we hesitate, and we often put out delimiting ideas about what we can do, not just what we can do, but what others can do. And one of the first things when I talk to families or children, that's the first thing that you kind of have to unravel, right? Who told you weren't a math person? And now what are we going to do about it? Because all you need to do to be a math person is to have a pulse. If you have a pulse, check it, you are a math person. And so that's the message. And I think that's why it's important, because it's important for how we position ourselves for the future of our country. In terms of the jobs we create, in terms of the positions we take up, and not only the industries we pursue, but how we position Bermudians in those industries. Are we the foot soldiers in those industries, or are we the designers, the creators, the disruptors, and innovators in those industries? I think it's a big mindset, and math is that power standard that is used worldwide to determine that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think you kind of answered a lot in there, but about that mindset, like what are some quick and easy methods for young children who may have challenges with grasping math? Like what's it? Because school's going in Bermuda right now, this week and next week. Like what are some things that maybe parents who maybe felt they weren't as strong at math can do to assist their children?
One is to reject that, right? Is to acknowledge it. I have this idea about math, and then throw it away, put it aside. It's literally like a therapeutic space, right? Put it aside. And so don't communicate messages to your child that, one, you don't like math. Fake it. Fake it till you make it. Fake the idea that you don't like math. Fake it. And so the child doesn't take on those ideas that there's a subject coming up that it's okay for me not to like, and therefore okay for me not to engage. The second thing that's important is get a real good understanding of what the goals and markers are for your child's success in mathematics. Being very clear about curriculum, or what is expected of my child, and then where does my child sit with regards to what's expected. And I say that because what COVID has taught us, what the pandemics have taught us, is that there's a proliferation of curriculum. There's no magic curriculum. So school doesn't have it, no matter what people say. Schools don't have it. There's no magic curriculum. There's so much curriculum right now. There's so much online support, so much virtual support that people can get, and it's that but you have to get it. So access it, and access, I would say, almost any curriculum you can right now, and provide that added access that children might need if they can get full access to curriculum in their school settings. And so you, as a parent, you are the first mathematician they experience. You are the first mathematics influencer that you want them to experience. And so you have to seek out access to promising curriculum. And it's been an explosion of that over the last 5 years. My brother, there's a site, I'll just throw it out there, called IXL.com. My brother loves it, right? My brother and his family love it. I wasn't a fan of it early, but during the pandemic, I'm now a big fan of it because it gives parents real clear targets and can support just about any program people find in their schools, right? So learning doesn't have to take place between 9 to 5, 8 to 4. Learning can be year round. It can be all throughout the day, all throughout our experiences, even in and around the home, through cultural relevant math as well, right? And so math is not a school subject. It's a lived experience. We don't think like that about art, right? Think about art and sports and other things. They're part of human life. And so thinking about mathematics beyond those walls of 8 to 4 is another thing I try to encourage parents to see and do as well.
It's so funny. So I laughed at your 29 cantaloupes, because that is true. That's how I learned math growing up. So for my son, I was like, I didn't want that. So I made sure that I put him in a Montessori school where they learn totally different. So that's why that was funny to me. What is Inspire Math?
So Inspire Math is a movement about empowering parents and teachers and educators and children and communities to utilize mathematics as power, to see themselves in mathematics, to ask important questions about themselves, but to really build pipelines, right? So think about it. We talk a lot about programs and fancy textbooks, but think about a pipeline. And my best example, Sandra, would be this. When I look at what Bermudian families do with Bermudian boys and girls regarding football, they believe that, look, my child can kick a ball at 5, and they have this pipeline. They put him into Kenny Thompson. They put him at BAA. They put him here. Bass can go to clinic. They do all sorts of things. Then then they get 11 and 12. They send them to these camps in England and these other places. And if they have to go to school to do soccer, they set up a pipeline, right? And a pipeline's number one priority is to take precious cargo from A to B. Nothing does it better than a pipeline, right? And so it's not so much about in a pipeline, it's not so much about the programs themselves, it's the people that become really, really important. So think about when we set up these from a standpoint of year to year, what is my child doing in mathematics, summer, winter, spring, summer, and fall? All you got is cold. But what if I could build a pipeline to mathematics success, right? And I think that's the added difference that I would say parents and communities need. And that's what Inspire Math has been about in my work over the last, 5, 6, 7 years in mathematics.
That's such a good way to look at it, right? So with that being said, how is math connected to some of the challenges that face our children today? Like, how would you say it's all connected?
Wow. That's a very loaded question, right? Well, just look at the conversation we had today about living wage, right? That's not a conversation for just adults. That's a conversation that young people must be engaged in. But I can guarantee you that 90% of the young people that are doing mathematics next week won't engage in that conversation, because there's a disconnect in how we see mathematics in curriculum and how we see mathematics in the lives of ordinary people. This idea that mathematics is for ordinary people. This is what we know from a scientific standpoint. We know that children come into school with ideas, invented ideas about math, like addition and subtraction, that you don't even have to teach. Children, just take it. Every kid in the look understands, you give me a chocolate, I'm better off. You take it away, I'm not, right? So these ideas of addition and subtraction, we know that they come into school with it. When you test Bermudian children at an early age, and we've known this for years when we used to do tests like the Californias and the Terra Novas, Bermudian children excel probably even more so than children around the world in their early years and until they get into early years of schooling. And then as the school goes on, the pendulum tends to swing the other way. But we know that early on, Bermudian children are gifted and talented and bringing so much power into the mathematics classroom, into the classroom period about math. And I wondered why, until I started to look at my niece. I don't know if you all build kites, right? I don't know if you make a kite personally, you buy them at the annex, but I make a kite every year, and I struggle with the pasting. My pasting job is not tight, but I tried to teach my niece that, and I watched my niece one day, and I watched her try to figure out how to cut out these shapes and how to design this kite, and I said, I get it. And then I looked at the Gombe uniform, the Gombe cape, and I saw the patterns and the designs, and then I said, I get it. Bermudian children are exposed to all of these shapes and different things about different mathematical ideas at a very young age, right? Mm-hmm. And I wondered if what would happen if we just knew that. If we just stopped and said, wow, I see why these kids are so chatty. I see why they understand so much at a young age, right? Mm-hmm. Because we expose them to these things early. what if we did it more deliberately, a pipeline again, but if we did it more deliberately as they went on and on and on. So our kids are exposed to powerful ideas about math. They have powerful ideas about math. They're gifted and talented to do mathematics. And also we know that mathematics is the gateway to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics pathways. It's a gateway to business. It's a gateway to thinking about Bitcoin and financial wealth and NFTs, and all sorts of ideas of money and currency and economics, and now even apparently living wage. So the world, it's so critical that we think about us differently. See, the problem isn't math. The problem is how we think about how we're positioned in the world as Bermudians, you know, and if we keep seeing ourselves, if this is the case, as consumers, as takers of other people's problems, as mere participants in other people's solutions and ideas, then we miss, I think, the valuable gift, the anomaly that we are in the middle of the Atlantic. I think we miss that valuable gift that we bring to the world.
Indeed.
Yeah. So back to culturally relevant math. You are the co-author on that book.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the book about, and where can people purchase it?
I happen to have it. Shameless plug for the book. Well, we just released this, Engaging Culture Relevant Mathematics. This is the Foster and Hope in the Elementary Classroom edition. This was just released in March. Funny story is that Corwin Press, Corwin Mathematics, which is one of the leading mathematics publishers in the United States, approached myself and my colleague at a conference. We were just at a conference in San Diego, and approached us and asked us to write some textbook series. And over the last 2 years, we've been putting together this textbook series. And in fact, this was released in March. The December textbook, which is the middle and high school edition, is going to be released in December. And we just finished that. And I don't know if there's so many edits and reviews you have to do around this book creation, but they'll be out in December. And so we're really excited about having this on the landscape, because one of the goals of Inspire Math, one of my lifelong goals, stemming from my career, my own experiences in Bermuda, and as a student, as a teacher, I want to change the landscape of how mathematics is taught and perceived and thought about in the lives of people, in the lives of communities. And I think these books go a long way to do that. You can find it if you go to Amazon and Google Lou Matthews Math, you'll see the book come up on Amazon.
All righty. We got some questions from the audience, folks. I'll try to get through as many as possible. We are tight for time. Karen Simmons says, do you think primarily a trained mathematician should teach the subject? You mentioned a pipeline of people for mathematics success.
The short answer is probably no, right? That's a yes or no question. I would say, no, but it's not necessarily a bad thing when a trained mathematician does. The idea of teaching is even more critical, right? Someone who has a good understanding about how young children learn. That's why mothers make great candidates. Fathers make great candidates for teaching, because they have opportunities to study how children learn. That's more important, right? Now, with a strong background in mathematics and trained mathematicians that study how people learn as well are really, really powerful in the space. We call it mathematics education in a nutshell, but that's a real powerful space. So it doesn't have to. Learning mathematics is not limited to the work of mathematicians. It's actually the product of us all.
Alrighty. We've got Nachika Trot. She's asking, Dr. Matthews, how do you think new signature learning programs will affect students' mathematical results?
Come on, Nachika. Good question. Good question. Listen, what I love is that, let me tell you what I love about it, is this idea of, City Bridge site is I believe City Bridge is a STEM site, right, for the new signature school. And so the more pathways children have to do mathematics, that's critical, right? Increasing the number of pathways. Here's my big caution, my big caveat to that. Access, right? The result of all of this should be more access to math for more people, not less. And if we can give more access to better mathematics and high quality mathematics experiences from young, right? We're talking about that pipeline. it would lead to better. I don't want to say results. I'm going to say outcomes, because I don't want to dictate this by standardized tests, for example, right? Think about outcomes, career choices, and think about career interests. Think about just having the ability to engage in a conversation about living wage. That alone would be a tremendous outcome for someone who has increased access as a result of these programs. So and the jury's out, right? The jury's out, because we've been a country that's been bombarded with reform after reform after reform. We're the most reformist space I've ever come across, right? And so we're constantly in a state of bandaging. And at some point, we have to think more fundamentally, in my view, about how to improve outcomes for young people and their families. And so it's not just simply the program itself, but it's the idea of access, high quality, day-to-day instruction, and for more people at even younger ages.
Alrighty. And one final question before you head out. Sean DeShields asking, why do the majority of public school students entering Bermuda College have below average math skills?
That's another loaded question. Bermuda College also tests, I think gives a test of entry into their coursework. So what happens in Bermuda, and it happens elsewhere as well, from about, I would say, S1 on to first and second year in Bermuda College, they do the same math. The math does not change. So by the time children reach over a 5 or 6 year period, there's college algebra? There's just a whole line of the same old tired mathematics experiences, right? So there's fatigue. Also, colleges all throughout the West have about 75% of their students who have to do developmental math courses. So it's not new. But what happens is that it's such a cash cow. The colleges can take in students, put you in developmental math. Those courses do not count towards your degree, but they bring in lots of money because they fill seats. And so that's an issue around the country that I see here in the United States. I had to speak on it several years ago at a community college. But colleges have to do things differently around access to mathematics. And college programs can be a gateway towards high quality mathematics as well. And so it's about breaking down these gateways so that we can have access to more people to do more powerful things. Yeah.
And before you go, just let people know how they can get in touch with you if they want to reach out to learn more. How can they connect with you?
So I work for a nonprofit called Urban Teachers now. We're partnered with Johns Hopkins and American University, and we develop and deploy urban teachers in DC and Dallas and Baltimore and now Philadelphia. You can reach me at lou.matthews@urbanteachers.org, or on Twitter at Lou Matthews Live, or Facebook or LinkedIn. You can find me any of those ways, or certainly at our website inspiremath.org as well.
All right, Dr. Lou Matthews, a Bermudian gift being shared with the world. Thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation. And please don't be a stranger. We have a lot more we can discuss with you.
You know that.
And please be open to more invitations.
Will do. Thanks for having me.
All right. Yeah. Dr. Lou Matthews, folks, if you appreciated that conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you go check him out. Follow him on social media. He's always got something good going on. And I want to check his book out because he's absolutely right. Like, I put it in my head that I wasn't a math person, but truthfully, I mean, folks, and I've shared this publicly before, I wasn't confident in math. And so when I was doing in graduate school, I actually got myself a tutor. I started doing tutoring, right? And if you know anything about doing an MBA, you kind of need to know a little bit about math, folks. We're going to come back, wrap it up. I think we've got a little special guest coming on to say hello to you all too. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Dr. Lou Matthews. Folks, if you found that conversation helpful, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share these conversations with your friends, your family, people at work. These are the kind of conversations that will improve our community. Trust me, it's helpful. It's helpful. Thanks again to One Communications, People's Pharmacy, Medical House, and Lindo's for ensuring we're able to do this with you. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol, and Bermuda Trivia, now available throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Sandra, are you ready?
I should have been to social media to try to figure out what you were talking about.
That means she's not ready, but here we go, folks. It's very easy, actually. What is Bermuda's oldest union?
Yeah.
What was that?
The BIU, Bermuda Industrial Union. No. No. That's an original. No. Okay.
The answer was on the Bermuda Trivia social media yesterday, and that's why all these folks got it.
Bermuda Union of Teachers?
It is the Bermuda Union of Teachers. No, it's not BPSU. Bermuda's oldest union is the Bermuda Union of Teachers, February 1st, 1919. Yeah, it was on Bermuda Trivia social media. So folks, when we say follow on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, some of the answers are right there for you. I love that just now. She said if I'd have been on social media. I first saw it yesterday. I thought she saw it.
I didn't know. I haven't been on social media all week.
Hey, Maddox.
Hi.
Why we only see half of you?
This is Maddox, everyone. This is the first time everyone's meeting you.
Say hello to everyone.
Hey, good morning.
Hi. Are you ready for school? First day tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So how old are you now?
6.
6. All right. So you had a good summer?
Mm-hmm.
We've got Carmen Mitchell-Jones. She's saying, hi, Maddox. See, the audience knows you. They just didn't know who you were. They didn't know who you were.
Oh, we could put a face with that name.
Yeah. Look, showing that. But all your fans are coming out. They're all coming out now.
Morning.
So when we, obviously with school, what's your favorite subject in school?
Math.
I was like, say math. We've been talking
Yeah, math and language.
Math and language.
Okay, all right. So we need mathematicians. Well, your mom did say earlier that she liked math, so it makes sense.
He's pretty good at math.
Yeah. All right. He can tutor me. Well, mathematics, everyone wants to tell you, since your first day of school is tomorrow, we all want to say we're wishing you a great school year.
What'd you say?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. We're going to be cheering you on. Bring home those good grades, all right? Maddox is bringing home the good grades. You heard him, folks. So come June, we're going to be saying, all right, Maddox, let's share those grades with us.
Yep. You're going to have to show everybody on the Daily Hour what your report looks like.
I don't know. He looks a little nervous now. Let's wrap it up today, though. What are your thoughts? Living wage and, minimum wage and Dr. Lou Matthews. What you got?
So basically, as said, government should not be included in these decisions. I agree with that. And I hope that they rethink this. I'm not sure if they will, but I hope that they rethink it, because it's the small business owners such as myself that's going to suffer from this. And we're going to have to make decisions based on that. I enjoyed the conversation about mathematics. And, as I said, one of the reasons why I sent Maddox to a Montessori school is because my way of learning, I'm like, it has to be a better way. So it was enjoyable to have this conversation today.
Indeed. And I want to go back to something you said, because we didn't get to this comment, but Erna Enos says the government should take more control of prices on electricity, water, food, and living accommodation, or help those that need assistance. I'll tell you what, this is probably the worst idea I have seen on this show. And that's not criticizing you, Miss Erna Enos. All I'm going to say to you regarding that comment, look what government has control of now and ask yourself how that's working out. You do not want to give a government more control of resources. Trust me, it doesn't work out in the best interest of people. Why? Because corruption takes place. People get their hands on money. Be careful what you ask for, because when you get it, it's going to be hard. So we need less government involvement and more involvement from people like you, Miss Erna Enos. That's what we actually need. We need us, the people, controlling stuff, not the government. As far as Dr. Lou Matthews, I mean it when I say we need him on this show more often to offer his contribution. That was an amazing conversation. And I really do hope the audience don't just love and like this show, but share this show. Have these conversations. These conversations can improve our community. Sancha and Maddox, do you have any daily inspiration for us?
You have inspiration that you want to tell anybody about? What inspires you? I do. But it's not really relevant because it's not September 5th, but it's a quote from Mother Teresa.
Just nuts.
I planned it today. See, I did my homework in advance, Jamal.
There you go.
Not all of us can do great things, but we can all do small things with great love.
I love that. I love that. Mother Teresa. Maddox, they're telling you to have a good first day tomorrow. Even Rosalind Famous, she says, have a great year. So we're wishing you a great year, Maddox. Make sure you bring home those A's. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for making us part of the daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sancha Durham and Jamel Hartman. My friends, make it a safe and great day. And someone please send us pictures of Sancha crying tomorrow when she takes Maddox for his first day. We are out.